In this video, we're going to see how Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, lost 5 pawns against Hikaru Nakamura. It's day 3 of the final. Here you can see the table. It was 2-2 in the blitz. Then Nakamura won one blitz game and the second was a draw. So we're going to have a look at the victories by Nakamura. We will look at both games because they feature the same opening. Nakamura has white, Carlsen has black. The game began. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop B5. We have the Spanish. And Carlsen goes for the Berlin defense. D3, bishop C5. And now we have an imbalance. Bishop takes C6. Volunteering to give up the bishop pair, but black now has doubled pawns. So why does white do this? Because his structure is better, and if black cannot use his bishop well, then maybe white can use his knight better. Notice you cannot play knight takes e5 because this is just a standard trap. Bishop and queen threaten checkmate and a knight, and you can't defend both. There's no point going here because you'll just take it. Knight d2. Castle, same thing. In the game, queen e2 is played. You can't play knight takes e5, queen d4 again. Same checkmate. Queen e2. Nakamura is not yet telling Carlsen where he's going to castle. So queen e2 keeps things flexible. Maybe he'll castle queenside. Rook e8. Knight c4, knight d7. Bishop d2. White doesn't want to swap this bishop for that, keeping more pieces on the board. Retaining more winning chances. Bishop d2, b5. Knight e3, knight f8. Also a5 was possible, just to gain space on the queen side. h4. And here, in this blitz game, Carlsen blundered with knight e6. And we're now going to switch to the other game. And then there is a tiny difference between this and the other position. See if you can spot it. But here, instead of bishop d2 as in the blitz game, this is the rapid game. He played h4, a5, h5, b5, knight e3, knight f8, bishop d2. So the moves look very similar. But there's a pawn on h5. Looks like white has made progress on the king side. But knight e6 is possible here. Because this pawn, you can't take it because knight d4 and this rook attacks the knight. This knight attacks the queen. So if you move the queen, you will lose your knight. Now back to this game. The difference between this and the rapid game is there's no pawn on h5, and this makes a world of difference. Knight e6 is actually a blunder. A better move is f6, defending your center. Then you can play knight e6. Then the knight can go to f4, d4. But Carlsen went knight e6 and Nakamura took. Amazing. And here in the game a5 was played. Well, we have to ask the same question as before. Why not knight d4? Because it looks like it's exactly the same. This rook attacks the knight. This knight attacks the queen. Black is winning, right? Wrong. There's a brilliant move here. Pause the video. See if you can find a tactic. I will give you 5 seconds. The brilliant move by white is knight takes f7. First question, why not king takes f7? Because queen h5 check, and you're going to pick up the bishop. After knight f7, the best chance is to get queens off. Knight takes queen, knight takes queen. Knight back to d4, and the knight on d8 is trapped. But white has time. He can use his time to attack the minor pieces in the center, finding a way out for the knight on d8. b4, great move. Attacking the bishop, let's tuck it back. Still the knight on d8 is trapped, but c3 we attack the center knight. And here the best move is to take the knight on d8 because knight can't move anywhere. on e6. There's no point going back to e6. You just take it. So no. So best is rook d8, take, take. And two options here. You can go rook c1, rook d1. Let's go rook c1. And then if take, take, then white is much better here. This pawn is going to drop, but notice white has 4 against 2. So he's 2 ahead on the king side. You can go king e2 and then rook d1. Get the rook in the game. There's almost no need here, if you were wondering, to take this pawn, because it's just doubled. Black might be a bit quick here, if you're not careful. Both rooks are in the game, so just because you can take a pawn doesn't mean you have to. The c6 pawn is doubled. Cool move, king e2, and then rook d1. So back to this game. Carlsen blundered. Knight takes e5, a5. Getting space on the queen side. You're down a pawn, but the game is not over. Are you enjoying the video so far? Then why not like the video and subscribe to the channel at the same time? Make sure you hit that bell. Then YouTube will let you know when I release a new video. Queen h5 attacking f7. Block with g6, queen f3 attacking f7. Block with f6, and now knight takes pawn. Queen d7, is the knight trapped? Yes and no, because Nakamura gets so many pawns. Queen takes f6, queen takes knight, and notice the queen is cutting off the king, so if you are able to check the king, then it should be mate. It is mate. Bishop c3 played in the game, flushing the king out, but a quicker way was knight g4, aiming for knight h6 mate, but maybe white didn't play this because bishop f8, but now knight e5, game over. Queen takes c2, let's say. And after queen f7 check, king h8, you could take the rook, but a really nice finish here is just h5. This forces the h file to open. I love this tactic, because you don't need to take the rook, you might as well just take the king. So if you close the h file with g5, pause the video to find the tactic. It is mate in 3. I'll give you 5 seconds. The move is knight g6 check. The h file will open. Take, take. Only move bishop h6, and you can pick your checkmate. Rook takes bishop, or this g6 pawn now guards the h7 square, so you can put your queen there. Bishop c3, rook f8, queen h8 check. King f7, queen takes pawn check. King e8, queen takes g6 check. Man, it just seems unfair how Nakamura is taking all of Carlsen's pawns. I mean, black has 3 pawns, but white has all of his 8 pawns. So white has taken 5 of black's pawns. Queen takes g6 check, king d7, and d4, setting up a tactic. Carlsen played b4 to attack the bishop, but first question is, why not knight takes pawn? Because queen g7 check, attacking rook and knight, so king needs to defend it. Let's say king e8, but then bishop d4. White is winning. If we went the other way, bishop d4, we can take. Queen g7 check. Loose pieces lose pieces. A knight or a rook is going to drop. So that's why Carlsen attacked the bishop, but after d takes c5 he resigned. He's just down too much material. So let's just play on a little bit. If you take the bishop, we can castle with check, always nice to do so. And the king has just run out of squares. All the red arrows show all the squares the king cannot go to. Only one square on e7. There's no point blocking, you're just going to take it. So if we go king e7, knight d5 is going to be mate very soon. That's it. King d7. Now if you don't see checkmate, it's always good to win the queen. So knight b4 is a nice discovered check from the rook, but this knight attacks your queen. There's a checkmate here. Let's just use the queen. Queen h7, checking along the 7th. You can block with the knight, but we're just going to take it, or the rook, we just take it. So the king has to go back, it doesn't matter. King d8 or e8 is the same final move. King e8, checkmate in one move, queen e7. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. If you enjoyed the show, why not like it and subscribe to the channel at the same time? Make sure you hit that bell, then YouTube will let you know when I release a new video.